way these cases get made is when you have people in each one of these towns who care deeply enough to put themselves on the line, to offer themselves for service, and also to make sure they tell you the truth about what's going on in their towns. That's why Kate, Mellina, and I became friends. Because, yeah, she said I have backbone, and I'm glad to hear her say that, but let me tell you, the real guts was somebody getting into this government in Asbury Park and being willing to stand up and tell the truth, and that's what Kate did during her time there. And together, the U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI and great public officials like Kate have brought real change to Asbury Park and brought real change to Monmouth County. And Monmouth County doesn't operate the same way anymore as it used to. And Kim and I were pointing this out. You know, the old boy network is dying, a relatively quick death, when now you've got a female sheriff and a female county clerk, you've got a female surrogate, you've got females on the board of chosen freeholders, and you know, we are changing what's going on here in Monmouth County because we broke open the dirty little secret of what was going on in this place, where everybody thought everything was nice and quiet and everything was going along just the way it should have, and it wasn't. And the same thing can be said about the state of New Jersey, except now, after the last 7 years, I think the U.S. Attorney's Office, both in the 7 years I was there and in the almost 9 months now since I've been gone, they've made it pretty plain to the citizens of New Jersey that we've got big, big problems in that regard. And no governor or lieutenant governor by ourselves are going to change that. I mean, believe me, I was very comfortable. We were doing a parade in Jersey City, Puerto Rican Day parade, and Kim and I were on the back of a big float going down the main streets in Jersey City. If you can only imagine what that sight was like, go on our website and take a look, and listen to our Spanish rap song. There's a Spanish rap song about me and Kim now. Please go on there. The only words in it I understand are when they say Christie and Guadano. But other than that, it's got a great beat, and I think you'll enjoy it. But there was someone who, on our float, well-intended guy, who kept saying over the microphone to people that if they voted for us, we'd have no more corruption. And finally, you know, I kind of grabbed the guy, who's really a very well-intentioned volunteer, who is very enthusiastic about me and Kim and about the campaign, and I just said to him, don't say that anymore. This is New Jersey, man. Okay? I'm not taking that heat. You know, what we will do, though, all throughout government, is to set a new standard and to set the tone at the top. That's what people like Kate were able to do in Asbury Park, is to stand up and say, we're not going to accept this as business as usual anymore, and we're going to conduct ourselves completely differently. And by setting that example and demanding more of themselves and of others, and by getting people like me and the U.S. Attorney's Office involved, and believe me, it didn't take a lot of cajoling to get me to get there, but believe me, if it needed to take a lot of cajoling, Kate was prepared to do that. And that's right, and my old secretary, Nancy Mantega, and Kate are on a first-name basis, because we talked all the time about what was going on there and making sure that we were deploying our resources in the appropriate way. And we'll do the same thing if we're fortunate enough to be able to earn the votes of the people of the state of New Jersey to be governor and lieutenant governor. I do not take lightly the support that I'm getting from Kate. Parties do matter to some extent, but the person matters more. But there's not that many people in our state at times who are willing to go there, who are willing to say, you can say, yeah, that's all right. That's okay. That means I'm getting someplace, that's good. But there's not a lot of people who are willing to do that, to open up their minds and say, hey, there's someone else maybe I should consider here. Maybe I should break out of what I normally do. And I appreciate that very much. And we're going to continue to work as hard as we can to earn your trust and your support. We understand the race we're in. Believe me, if we didn't understand it before this summer, we sure as heck understand it now. You know, for all of you later on, if you'd like me to demonstrate, I know there's not a picture here of George W. Bush, but if you had one, you want me to clap in front of it, I'd be happy to do that for all of you. you like me to pretend I'm walking out of a congressional hearing and say, I have to go? You know, or any of those things that, of course, never really happened, only happened in the world of John Corzine and his Wall Street millions and his desperation to hold on to power. And expect more of it over the next 58 days. I'm expecting more of it. Because if you had his resume, you would not be able to talk about your record and why it merits rehiring. You need to talk about the guy you're running against and try to make it look like Rosemary's Baby. And that's what he's going to be trying to do over the next 58 days, the same way he spent about $7 million this summer, outspending me 12-1 this summer on network television to try to make me look the same way. But we have a little message for him. And that is, when he started this barrage in June, the Quinnipiac poll had me up by 11 points. And $7 million of relentlessly negative ads later, last week's Quinnipiac poll has me up by 10 points. So, that doesn't mean we're going to win, because nothing is guaranteed, especially in this business. But what I think it means is that people want to hear something different. They want to hear about how we're going to make this state better and more affordable. They want to hear about what we're going to do to try to restore faith and hope and trust in government to people who have had that faith and hope and trust ripped away from them by both parties. They want to see something completely different, and that's what we've given them since we got into this race in January, and that's what we're going to continue to give them over the next 58 days. I said to people before, I don't know if avoiding these negative gutter type of TV commercials is a winning strategy or a losing strategy, but it's our strategy. Because both Kim and I, over the course of our careers, we've been both fortunate enough to be federal prosecutors, have worked too hard to develop a reputation for integrity to give that reputation away for any job, not even for the governorship of New Jersey. So John Corzine's a little disoriented. He expects me to rise to the bait. He expects us to return fire in kind. And I've heard lots of people. We were on the boardwalks of Wildwood and Ocean City and Seaside Heights and Point Pleasant over the last couple of days. And I had plenty of people coming up to me saying, hit him back, hit him back, hit him harder. How about all the things he did? And I've said to any number of people, well, how's that going to help your neighbor get a job? How's that going to help you pay your mortgage? How's that going to help us send our kids to better schools? What's that do? If I contribute to making both of us despised figures in New Jersey, one of us is going to win. And then that person has to govern. And I am not going to participate in the demeaning of this process. Just won't do it. And so will we talk about his record? Sure we will, because that's his resume. So we'll talk about the fact that he's raised taxes $9 billion, and that we have the highest unemployment rate in the region. When he took over, we had the lowest in the region. We'll talk about those things, that's fair game, but I'm not going to be demonizing him personally or making him look like something that he isn't, because that's just not right. It's not who I am. And it's not who I want to be as your governor if I'm fortunate enough to get there. And those type of principles are things that I've learned from my mom and dad. Those are the kind of things I'm trying to pass on to our children. And those are the kind of things that are reinforced to you as a public official when you find inspirational people like Kate, who really got involved in this messy business for the reasons that she said up here. She just couldn't take it anymore and she wanted to make a difference.